foremost, I would like to talk a bit about the firm and also about the academy as a whole. Cityscope Africa is a Pan-African media platform with a commitment to showcase excellence in people of African descent and strive and showcase and shine the spotlight on beautiful places of interest in Africa. And here, which is Cityscope Africa Academy, is a subsidiary, is an initiative of Cityscope Africa, which is a place where we connect business entrepreneurs and professionals all together, and we discuss about lifestyle, business, and intercontinental building, all just to make us better and to help aid each and every one of us in every sphere of life that we find ourselves. Once again, it's a privilege to have us come together even for this wonderful section tonight. I believe it's going to be an awesome time with our guest, who is a lawyer this evening. So right as earlier broadcasted, before we go on, I would like every one of us to check in even with our chat. Let us begin to familiarize ourselves as we begin the section. So you can just introduce yourself and just say a bit about what you do so that people will know that, okay, this is what this person do. So we can actually later on eat up on the other side after the section. So thank you so much. So right, as earlier said, that there will be a game section. So just before we go into the section fully with Barrister Opatola Victor, is currently on call with us this evening. And just before that, we just want to talk about the games that we are going to be having this evening. So it's about the Let's Go Nigeria. Let's Go Nigeria is an initiative of the Cityscope Africa also, which is an app which can be found on the Google Play Store. And it's showcasing, is an app that can tell you more about tourism. Whatever you find yourself in Nigeria, you can just check, okay, I'm in Southwest, I'm in this. You can check and then be able to know, okay, these are places I can go and visit. You can also learn on the app, and there are so many other things on the app which when you download this, you will be able to learn much about it. So as rightly said, there will be a game, and the game rules goes thus. For as many of us that are online, we are just taking 3 winners for tonight. Please note, 3 winners for tonight. So listen to the game rules just before we start and we commence the section. So the game rules is that you're going to download the app on the Google Play Store. Let's Go Nigeria. Let's go all together, then Nigeria. When you go to Google Play Store, you'll find it there. Then after you download it, you click on the menu and you see a money bag on the menu. Click on it. But before you click, you go, after you download it, you have to submit a review on the Google Play Store. You have to review the app. Submit. When you review the app, then you come to the app and then you fill your details on the money bag in the Let's Go Nigeria app. So when you fill your details, the first 3 people that get it are going to get 1,000 naira worth of data, courtesy Let's Go Nigeria, a subsidiary of Cityscope Africa Media Limited. So I believe we get that. So please let us take note of that even as we continue the section tonight. I believe it's going to be an awesome time. So many of us are entrepreneurs, so many of us are SMEs, we are MSME, and we are all in this business. And it's a privilege to have Barrister Opatola Victor tonight to tell us about the law aspects when it comes to business, so that we can learn more and also know more about what the law says we can do and what the law says we cannot do. Because many of us are operating businesses without having the knowledge of what the law guiding what the business that we are doing. So a brief profile of Barrister Opatola Victor is a legal practitioner, an astute, an alternative dispute resolution expert, and an human rights activist. He's an astute legal writer with unconventional perspective of law and social matters. He has worked with various clients in top government, individuals, officials, and musicians. He has initiative as regards rehabilitation of those who has been to the correctional center. And it's be a great pleasure this evening to welcome Barrister Opatola this evening to take us and lecture us on the topic which says business and law, what it all entails. You're welcome, sir. Barrister Opatola, are you there, sir?
He is muted.
Yeah.
Barrister, you are muted.
Okay, let me try to see if I can unmute him from here. Barrister, are you there?
Good evening.
Okay, you're welcome, sir. You have the floor, sir.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. Can you hear me, please? Hello.
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
You can hear me, sir.
Thank you very much. Good evening, and I am happy to be here. Like he has introduced me, my name is Opatola Victor. So basically, what we'll be talking about this evening is about company structure, company setup, liability issues, and some basic contract laws. And if time permits us, we'll be giving a legal audit of our businesses thereabout. The first thing we are talking about now is company structure. I'm mindful of the fact that there are participants who are not in this particular session who are not from Nigeria, who are currently not in Nigeria, in other African countries. So I will try as much as possible to give instances that can accommodate them. So company structure. Like we all know, there are under the law, there are various company structures that we can use. First, before we delve into company structures, let us talk about the importance of company structures. First, why should you incorporate your business? You know, a lot of persons do partner and go into partnership. They don't see the need to incorporate their business under the law in Nigeria. But there are numerous advantages for you when you incorporate your business in Nigeria. The first advantage is that your business become a separate legal personality apart from you, distinct from you. What does this mean? This means the company is not you. You are not the company. Both of you have different legal personalities. That means the company can owe debt and you cannot owe the debt. That means the company can have properties and you, as the owner, will not be the owner of the property. Another, a very beautiful aspect of this is that many people go into contractual relationships with businesses without investigating whether or not they are companies. The business you're going in business you're going to business with, are they incorporated companies? One, you should search their financial capacity. Why do I say you should search their financial capacity? Is because if you're going into business with company A, for instance, now you borrow company A, say 50 million naira, and you did not bother to search whether company A has a sound financial capability. Meanwhile, company A only has, say, 5 million, both in assets, both in everything. It doesn't have more than 5 million. And in the long run, company A cannot pay back your debt. What do? The truth is, even if the owners of that company A are Aliko Dangote and Otedola, there's nothing you can do because they cannot be personally held responsible for the debt of the company. So I always advise people, when you're going into a contractual relationship with a business, do some check-ins, do some background check-ins. Be sure that they have sound financial background. be sure that you know that their debt, the current debt they have, will allow them to pay your own debt. These are one of those things that I always advise companies. Now, another very important aspect is that there are various process of incorporation you can go through. You can you can incorporate as a private company, and you can incorporate as a public company. Now, when we talk about private company, what are private company? Private company are companies under the law in which first, public companies are companies that are listed on the stock exchange. Those are public company. Those are examples of public company. Private company, if you remember, sometimes ago, before some of our telecommunication companies were listed on the stock exchange commission, a lot of them were getting serious profit in running into billions of naira. But the was that they were, as at that point in time, they were private company. So one of the advantages of you incorporating as a public company is that first, you'll be able to raise money, funds from the public. If you are not incorporated as a public company and you're not listed under Security and Exchange Company and Security and Exchange Commission, you cannot raise money from the public. So those are some of the advantages that are there when you incorporate your business. So now the first question is, some of us that were here, have we incorporated our business? If you have done that, are we going through the right process of incorporation? It's not compulsory you register your businesses, but there are advantages to it. You can continue running your business as a partnership. But what are the disadvantages of partnership? Disadvantage of partnership is once you run your business as a partnership, that means you're not registering the business, or you're registering as a business name. Once you do that, every person that is involved in running that business, as the owner of the business, will be liable when there is debt. What does this mean? This means that if there are, say, if the business as a partnership between 20 and 10 persons, for instance, now 10 friends, and they start a business and they're running it as a partnership, they did not incorporate it as a company in Nigeria. If that business owes 100 million naira, all the 10 people, all of them will be responsible for paying that 10 million naira jointly and severally. So that means that until the 10 million naira is paid, the debt of the 10 million naira is paid, all of them will sell their houses, they will sell their cars, they will sell all their assets until the debt is extinguished. So that's one of the disadvantages of running a partnership, which is not applicable when you incorporate your business. So these are company setups. We'll talk about company setup now. Please just be noting your questions. Because of time, I won't be able to delve straight into all these things, but I'll just talk about it generally. Another very important aspect is the basic contractual laws. As a business, you can't just avoid it, you can't dodge it. You will always go into contractual obligations. You go into contract with business, with individuals. Let me share you an example. Recently, a client of mine spoke to me. He said he has a problem. What is this problem? His company that he has was having some incorporation issues. So he was not able to incorporate it when he needed, when he got a contract, he was not able to incorporate it. So in the long run, he got the contract. So he now had to ask a friend of his, say, let me use your company, then do this contract. Then I will also use the account of your company to do this contract, to get this contract. So the friend said, no problem. And they went into an agreement. It was not written down. There was no written agreement to this effect. So in the long run, the government sent him some money to execute the business. They sent him, the total amount of money was around almost 300 million. So they've already given him about 200 million. And he Okay, they've already given him about, he has been using about 70 million to do the business. So the government now sent about 200 million into the account of the company. Don't forget that he's not the owner of the company. The owner of the company is his friend. So all of a sudden, the friend decided that he's not going to allow him access to the company's account. Already, they changed they already gave him a letter to the bank to allow him access the company's account, for the purpose of the contract. So before he knew what was happening, they changed the what's the name, the bank account signature and details and everything. He couldn't access it again. So now he was now calling me and say, what can be done in this issue? If he had come earlier on, this issue would not have come up. What am I saying? What I'm saying is that as a business owner, no matter how little or small your business is, no matter how big your business is, you will always be in need. You will always go into contract with other businesses, with other individuals. So how do you go about it? The first thing I always advise people, which is mostly the last on the contract, is don't ever do a handshake agreement. No matter how good you think you're friends with the person, don't ever do handshake agreement. Not because oral agreements are not enforceable in law. Yes, they are enforceable in law, but they are quite onerous to establish. If there's a written agreement in this particular instance now, it will be easy. The interpretation of the agreement will be easy. But once it is oral agreement, it is subject to various interpretations. Then you will come and you say that this is what I said. You will come and say this is not what I said. And there will be the problem of interpretation, that this is what I said, but this is what I meant. So the first rule, never go into contract with anybody, no matter how close or how much you trust the person. It's not an issue of whether you trust the person, or it's about ethics of business. Like I said earlier on, the business is not you. The business is different from you. Once you incorporate it, the business is different from you. If I incorporate a business today, it's my business. The shares and everything, I own 90% of the shares. And it's my business, it's my money that I used to start it up. Do you know that I can be removed as the MD or chairman, board of directors on the ground of fraud? And I'm the owner of the business, and I started the business from the scratch. I can be removed on the grounds of fraud. Why is it possible? Because I'm not the business. The business has a separate life and the distinct entity apart from me. So the more we understand this, the more we see the beauty in incorporation. So another thing about contract is don't 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 if you're given a contract to sign a business contract, don't assume that the contract is simple, that you can go through the contract by yourself and on the content of the contract. I see a lot of people do this, and it always end up in tears for them. Because if I want to draft a contract now and a non-lawyer is reading it, in all honesty, you will agree that you know the meaning of this contract. As in, it's in simple English after all. You can read it and you can understand it. But the truth is, it is not about what you're reading. It's about the total effect of what you're reading. So you can read 1A of the contract and understand it. You can read 1B of the contract and understand it. You can read 2A, 2B, 2C and understand it. But have you thought about the fact that what is the implication of adding 2A plus 3C? There's some words that have easy understanding, normal English understanding. But when it comes to law, when it comes to interpretation of documents, that is not the implication. Simple words such as shall, will, may, all these simple words, even shall, will, must. These are words that carry heavy implications. So I can draft a document and I think don't always believe the what it is that you're reading in the contract. Because for instance now, once I know that it is always good to be fair. But this is business. A lot of people do shady things and underhand deals. So it is always good to give your contract to your lawyer to go through it for you. You'll go through it from the perspective of experience. Now, like I always say, it is not about the content of the contract alone. Sometimes it's about the custom. There are some, for instance, now I can draft a contract when it comes to shipping or maritime law, and I'll draft A to Y. But the truth is, there are some things that are inside, there are some things that are not contained, that are not written in this contract, that when we get to court or when the need for interpretation arises, they will interpret it into the contract. What do we call them? We call them customs. We call them, trade customs. So it is not always about what is written in a contract. No, it is not. It is sometimes about the custom that have been applicable in that particular sector over the years. So, for instance, now this is even very common in normal business contract. It depends on the sector, or most often than not, especially also in shipping and maritime industry. So like I said, always, as the case may be, give your contract to your lawyer to go through it. You go through it in terms of law, you go through it in terms of experience, you go through it in terms of custom, trade custom. Let's talk about liability issues. The first thing is, can you be liable for the debt of your company? And in what situation, in what instance do you think you can be liable for the debt of your company? Yes, you can be liable for the debt of your company, even though the company is incorporated. How does this work? It works in the sense that if you misrepresented a fact for somebody, you will be held liable for the debt of that company. That's the first thing. If there is fraud on your part, you'll be held liable for the debt of the company. I've seen various instances where people are held. I've seen various instances. For instance, now there's this particular matter that we are treating now. The board and the director, MD of the company embezzled a lot of money. He embezzled a lot of money under the guise of traveling, under the guise of seminar, and it went on over the years. So they removed him for financial misappropriation. So the company is in debt, massive debt currently. So the company, the debtors of the company are coming against the company, say, pay us our debt. The company is suing the the MD that they've removed for financial misappropriation. Then the MD is saying that he's not responsible on his part for financial misappropriation. That everything he did it in the name of the company. So every money is spent, it's the company that spent it. So are you seeing the issues of how the issues of liability are coming up? So we must be conversant with this issue of liability. Another very important aspect of contract is the issue of alternative dispute resolution. You see, alternative dispute resolution, a lot of persons don't understand this, but most often than not, it's just a clause in the contract, but it can save you massive amount of money in the long run. It can save you both headache and heartache. What's alternative dispute resolution is basically that if this business contract, if it goes sour or it goes south, how do we resolve the problem that will arise? Then the clause will be saying that if there's any issue that arises out of this contract, the first thing we must do, we must sit down. It's compulsory. We must sit down and try to ourselves through alternative dispute resolution. Like the word alternative dispute resolution, what does it mean? It means that there are various means of alternative dispute resolution. It means that we won't head to court straight. We can do mediation. We can do, there are conciliation. There are various, but in the long run, what this is saying is, in short, that we won't head to court straight. We'll try and resolve it Call your lawyer, I call my lawyer. We'll sit down, resolve it within ourselves. We'll know who was at fault, who is not at fault. We can even go through what's the name? There's this alternative dispute courthouse. We can even go through that. In which it will be whatever decision was reached by the panel will be binding on us. So it will save us. Sometimes the process of the court is long and overbearing. Sometimes if you go to court for a year, your matter is still there. So alternative dispute resolution, what does it do? If you go through alternative dispute resolution, at most, 3 months, your matter is resolved. 3 months, 6 months, your matter is resolved through alternative dispute resolution. So if you're signing a contract, ensure that the clause of alternative dispute resolution is included in your contract. Another very important aspect is called corporate governance. It is not enough that you set up your own company. There is this aspect of corporate governance. The MD, you be the MD, and the MD in company A, in a cement company, like can the MD in Dangote company also be the MD in Ashaka Cement? Dangote Cement also be the MD in Ashaka Cement? Or can I be a board member in Ashaka Cement and also be a board member in Dangote Cement? Can my relative be a board member in the same company that I'm a board member? So all these things are about corporate governance, and they are very, very important. Another thing I'll talk about is the importance of ensuring that you stick to the basic directive and regulation of the Corporate Affairs Commission. Now, your meetings, they are important. And these things are becoming easier now because of this new Companies and Allied Matters Act. Private companies now, you don't necessarily need to sit and have a physical meeting. You can have an online meeting. So far as a private company, but as a public company, you can't do that. You can have an e-meeting as the case may be said. So if you're a private company. So these are some of the advantages that are present. Because of time, I might not be able to delve into them. Another very important thing I would like to talk about is this issue of limited liability partnership. Limited liability partnership, a lot of persons don't know about it, but it is beautiful. How does limited liability partnership work? Earlier on, I was speaking about partnership, how it works. If 10 of us go into partnership to start a business, for instance, now, the 10 of us will be liable for any debt that comes that emanates from that business. Personally, we'll be liable for it severally. So, in limited liability partnership or limited partnership, as the case may be. So, if 10 of us go into partnership, and me, I say that I want to be a limited partner in this partnership. The implication is if there's a debt of 50 million, my liability is limited to whatever amount that I say that I'll be paying. So if I want to go into limited partnership now, I'll stipulate my liability. Say if there's any debt, I cannot pay more than 200,000 naira, or I cannot pay more than 500,000 naira if there's any debt whatsoever. So if the partnership now runs into a debt of 500 million, you as a limited liability partner, a limited partner, that means you can't pay more than what you have earlier said you will pay. And under the law currently, under this new Companies and Allied Matters Act, limited liability partnership can be registered under the law in itself. Yes, limited liability partnership can be registered under the law. Previously, it was only in Lagos that you can register limited liability partnership. But in Nigeria now, you can register throughout Nigeria, the whole country. You can register your business as a limited liability partnership. So these are one of the advantages. And now, currently, only one person can incorporate a company. Before, it used to be at least 2 persons. So that's before. But now, under this new KAMA, only one person can incorporate a business. So there's no need for you to get somebody to start a business with you on paper. And in reality, you know that you are the owner of the business, or get your children and just give them 5% or 2% shares just for the sake of ensuring that it's not only you that you run the business. So that means only one person now can run the business. So one thing I would like to talk about is the issue of you starting one company and incorporating several and you start incorporating one company and starting a lot of businesses under the company and believing they are holding companies. First, what is holding company? Holding company is different. For instance, now, Dangote company is a holding company. It has at least three it has at least three other companies underneath it. But that does not mean that those other companies, they are not registered, they're not incorporated. So, for instance, now you can start a company, and the object of the company is to be doing importing and exporting, and you went ahead under the same company to start an aviation, a charter, airplane charter business under the same company. It is not always wise to do that. There's no that does not connote the import of an holding company. So if you want to start one business and have several other businesses underneath, it wouldn't cost you much to register those other businesses, because if push come to shove and any matter goes to court, and it is said that the business that you're doing does not is not in tandem with the object in which you register the company itself, you will be at loss. You will be at loss. So whenever you want to register a business, whenever you want to register a company and have so many other business under it, the first thing, make sure that those businesses you're starting under that one company, under that company, make sure that first it is in tandem with the object of that company. What is the object of the company? The object of the company is are those things that you listed in your memo. That's a memorandum of association, that the company will have powers to do. So if you list under your under your object that you have powers to um, to do general contract work, to do aviation, to do car wash, for instance, also, you can't do any other thing apart from the object. It is not always wise to do any other thing not contained in the object. It's sometimes dangerous to do that. So I would like to espouse a little bit on corporate governance, on the importance of meetings. A lot of persons incorporate their business, they don't follow the CAC, or Companies and Advertisers Act regulation. You're setting yourself up if you do that. A lot of persons start their business, incorporate it under the law as a company limited by shares, and you don't have your statutory meeting. You don't have your annual general meeting. You don't set up the company the way it's supposed to set up. You don't file your resolutions. You don't file it with the CAC. The day of reckoning is coming. And when it comes, you don't pay your annual returns. All these things are grants. For instance, if you don't do your meeting the way you're supposed to do, you don't do meeting the way you're supposed to do it. All these things are grants in which your company can just be what's the name? Your company in such matter, if you don't do the meeting you're supposed to do, for instance, statutory meeting or annual general meeting, which you're supposed to do every year. Statutory meeting is within the first 6 months of incorporation. A lot of businesses don't do this. If you don't do this, you're setting yourself up. Why are you setting yourself up? Because it's a grant for your company to be wound up. You just hear tomorrow that CAC has just wound up your company. That's one of the grants for winding up of the company. If you don't set up these, if you don't go by CAC regulations, there are many of them. Before I forget, I would like to talk about minority um, minority shareholders. This is Nigeria. The truth is, there are numerous instances where, because you're a minority shareholder, there's this saying that the majority always have their way and the minority always have their say. In under the company laws in Nigeria, for instance, now, it is good to note that the fact that you're a minority does not mean that, you can't, if certain things are going wrong in the company, you can't make them right. For instance, now, if the company is not holding the meetings, the requisite meetings supposed to hold, there are things you can do to ensure that the company holds those meetings. If, as a minority shareholder, if you notice that the the top echelon of the company are embezzling money, you just don't fold your hand and say because you're a minority shareholder, there's nothing you can do. There are numerous things you can do. So a lot of persons don't they allow the company to crash under the guise that they're minority shareholder, that they don't have 50% of the company, or they don't have 60% of the company. For instance, now Dangote PLC has I think Aliko Dangote has about 50 something percent. That does not mean that somebody who has 10% of Dangote cement cannot hold Dangote responsible, or cannot hold the board members responsible for any financial misappropriation that might be going on in that particular business. So let us always understand, always know that, where there's a wrong, there's always a remedy. Where there is where certain things are going on in the business, there will always remedy to to ensure that that wrong does not continue. So all these things are very important for us to note too. Very, very important. And on the issue of corporate governance, I'm talking about corporate governance important because a lot of persons get it wrong. A lot of persons get it very wrong. You can't be a board member in, in Ashaka Cement and also be a board member in Dangote Cement. You can't. It's not allowed, under the corporate governance rule. Each sector, for instance, now, insurance sector, they have a code, a code of corporate governance that governs them. The banking sector have a code of corporate governance that governs them. The financial sector have a code of corporate governance that governs them. So it depends on the sector you are. That will determine the kind of code of corporate governance that governs you. So maybe we'll discuss that during our legal audit, where each of us, anybody that wants to talk about his or her business, will talk. Then we will audit the business as the case may be. So always ensure that you hold your meeting as at when due. These are slow periods. There are a lot of persons don't follow. Your annual returns. The annual returns is like it's a good affair. That's the truth. Because if you don't pay it now, however you want to do it, you will end up paying it. But the issue is why accumulate it. Pay it as at when due. Because no matter how you want to do it, there are certain things you want to do with corporate affairs commission. They will tell you, they will check whether you're paying your annual. If you're not paying, before you get it done. For instance, now, if you want to change the object of your company, what your company has powers to do, and you have started your business for the past 5 years, and you have not paid your annual returns, what they will tell you is simple. First, go and pay your annual returns before you can be able to change the object of your company. You want to change your MD, and once you change, you need to report to the Corporate Affairs Commission. Before you're able to do that, they will check if you have been up to date with everything you should have been doing. If you're not, they will direct you to, first of all, pay the fines. And apart from the payment itself that you ought to pay, because you did not pay it as I went due, there are fines attached to this thing. So no matter how you want to do it, for instance, now, a client started a company, but he needed a contract, a mining contract. So he needed to put mining in one of the objects of his company. So he spoke to me. He told me that he needed to put mining in the the object of the company. Then when I did one or two search, I realized that he has not been paying his annual returns. He has opened the company for about 12 years now, and he has not paid annual returns for 12 years. The annual returns plus the fine is a whooping amount, but he does not have any choice because he has to pay it. He's expecting a contract to that effect, so he has to pay it. So do things that when there are a lot of rules, a lot of laws when it comes to corporate governance, when it comes to company in Nigeria, when it comes to business. For instance, now, a lot of persons don't take advantage. You see, there are various structures that businesses in Nigeria can take advantage of. Beautiful, beautiful structure. But a lot of businesses don't. For instance, now, there are so many tax reliefs that are available for your business to reduce the tax you're paying. When you hear that Dangote is not paying so much tax, you say it's doing fraud. But the truth is, chances I might not be doing fraud. It's just taking advantages of the tax reliefs, the incentives that are available for him under the law. For instance, now there are certain numbers of employees that you employ that you entitle you to a relief, tax relief under the law. There's certain places you can start your business. You can you can build your business that will that will entitle you to some tax relief under the law. Sometimes as much as 100% tax relief. 100%. I mean, for instance, now, under pioneer status, you can go as long as 3 years without paying any tax. Then, if it is structured effectively the way it ought to be structured, you can go another 5 years without paying any. These are these are one or two ways in which you can take. There are so much regulations, so much laws, but businesses don't take advantages. They don't take advantage of them. When it comes to business, when it comes to maybe taxation, maybe regulation in Nigeria. So it is important, very, very important that we are aware of all this and we take advantages of them. And especially now that the country is in recession, thereabout, every tax relief counts. So always take advantage of so, like I said earlier on, company structure is broad, set up, liability issues, basic contract laws, legal audit. Let me tell you something about contract. There are instances where you enter contract into somebody and you believe you enter contract. In all honesty, looking at it on the face of it, you've entered contract into the person and with the person. But the truth is, when these things come down to law, you have not entered contract with that person. You're just playing. And sometimes it can involve millions of naira. And the truth is, your money just got wasted. Because the truth is, when we look at it legally, from the legal perspective, you have not entered contract with the person. All you're doing is mere, what should I call it, invitation to treat. You're just still playing before you enter into the contract. But looking at it, normally, you've gone into the contract with the person. So these are one of those issues. If you're not careful with, you can lose money. There are people who have lost their businesses that they have suffered for many years. There are businesses like that. So it is always very important that you're careful, when going into contract, when setting up your business, set it up in such a way that you get tax reliefs. A lot of companies do corporate social responsibility. The truth is, for doing corporate social responsibility, there are tax
Good evening, ma'am.
from the government. Doing corporate social responsibility.
You are the one with the bench.
Your company bought a transformer particle. There are tax reliefs that you can get for doing that. So this is part of company structure, which are very, very important too, notwithstanding. And there are things, companies, businesses should avert their mind to. And very importantly, the issue of debt and liability. They are very important. You're going into business with any company or business, do a legal, and do a financial background search on them. Make sure, raise up their skirt. Make sure they are who they say they are. They should not be able to borrow 50 million from you if all they have is not up to 5 million. If they can't pay it, who will pay it? All the assets they have, everything they have is not up to 5 million. So if they can't pay it, who will pay it? You can't hold the manager responsible. You can't hold the MD responsible. You can't. And even if you're able to hold the shareholders responsible, you can only hold them responsible to the extent of the shares that they have not called in, that has not been called in. So always do a financial analysis of any company that you're going into business with. Why? So you don't lose your money. So at this juncture, I don't know if there are questions that anybody has so that we address it and I don't shoot out of time.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Speaker. My name is Kolade Ayorinde, and I would like to ask a question pertaining to sole proprietor going to a limited liability company.
Okay.
Is the condition for setting up such different from the partnership type of limited liability?
Okay. Let me get your question. A sole proprietor,
Yeah.
that wants to incorporate as a limited liability company.
Yes.
Is it different from liability? Yes, it is. It is very different. The implication too is different. But the truth is, for both of them, now under the law, under this new canon, there is incorporation. It has been incorporated under the law. It's just that the liability. Well, the question is, as a sole proprietor, why do you want to go into a limited liability partnership? Because you're yes. Do you want other persons to join you in the business?
Well, the question is, okay, when you are starting a limited liability company, partnership, you've got two or more people coming together. But when a sole proprietor wants to start one, he doesn't need anybody. So he just goes in and starts this and register this business.
Yes.
So the question is it the same protocol for both? Because for go on, please.
They are different, but as a sole proprietor, I will always advise that you register as a company limited by shares, a normal company, because only you can still register. It is allowed now that only one person can register a company in Nigeria. But if what you want to do is go into limited liability partnership with others, then fine. But the process is different.
Okay, that's the question, really.
But the implications are almost the same thing. There's difference between a limited partnership and a limited liability partnership. A limited liability partnership, all the partners, their liability is limited. But limited partnership, not all of them, maybe just one out of 5 or 2. Those that want their liability to be limited. Most often than not, they are silent members. They are not so involved in the running of the company. So back to your question, they are different. There are different processes involved.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. Thank you for that question, and thank you, Mr. Barrister Victor, for the wonderful session this evening. So I have a question here from Oshin Emmanuel. It says, as a registered sole proprietor, into bracket an enterprise, am I liable for the company's debts?
As a registered sole proprietor, like, okay, when you say register, I hope you mean incorporated, because you can register as a business name. If you register as a business name, you're liable. the company's debt. As a matter of fact, you'll be sued personally for the company's debt. But if you registered as a business, as a company under the law, maybe a limited liability company or partnership thereabout, you won't be held liable for the debt of the company. So
Thank
if
you.
the issue now is, do you register as a business name or as a company under the law? If what you did is registered as a business name, you will be liable personally for all the debt. But as a company, you won't be liable. As a company, the company will carry its own burden because it has a different separate entity from you.
Okay, thank you so much, sir, for that response. I want to ask that is there a way that people can access these laws? Because this, looking at it, most people don't really have or are just hearing about it first time. Is there a way
The
get
laws,
these laws that we can know about them?
okay, the laws are always available online. If you're not you want to incorporate a company and you're not in Nigeria, there are various things you must do. Come through the requisite means. Don't just bring your money in um, through black market. Why? In case you want to take your money out of the country. For instance, now, if you invest in this country now and you want to take your money out, you want to recuperate your money outside of the country, how do you do that? If your profit is 1 million and the dollar rate now is about 500 naira, the CBN rate is about 300 naira, there about 300 and something naira. So you can't compare 500 and something naira with 300 and something naira. If you want to take your money out, you brought it in through the normal means, through the requisite means that you're supposed to bring, the legal means that you're supposed to bring it in. It is the CBN exchange rate that you'll be able to take it out of the country. That means you'll be able to enjoy your profit. I don't know if what I'm saying, you understand what I'm saying.
Yes, I do.
To invest in this country, you
So,
want to start a business in this country, and you know that chances are that one day you will likely want to pull out your money from the country to another country. So it is always wise to bring your money in through the legal means. There are legal ways of bringing in this money. Why? So that when you're taking out your money, you won't take it out. You won't, if you have 1 million naira and you have to convert it into dollars to take it out. If you don't come in through the legal means, you will have to take your money out through black market. That is about 500 and something naira. But if you bring it in through the legal means, you will take it out through the normal CBN rate, which will help you to have more profit in the long run. You can't compare 300 and something naira, maybe 330 or 40 naira when you convert it into dollars, with 500 naira and 560 naira or something. So if you bring it in through the legal means, it will afford you more profit when you want to convert it into dollars and take it out of the country.
okay, thank you so much, sir. So for each and every one of us, I believe we can access this law online, and also we should take the normal route to do our business transactions. Don't take the shortcuts or the other way around. So I have another question here from John Fatomi. He said, why can't I be a board member in two companies? Maybe an executive board member somewhere and a non-executive board member in the other. You get it, sir?
Hello.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, the truth is you're a board member. I didn't say you can't be a board member in two companies. I said you can't be a board member in the same company in the same sector. Of what benefit will it be if you're a board member in Dangote Cement and you're also a board member in Ashaka Cement? There will be conflict of interest. So why this is so that there won't be conflict of interest. You can be a board member in a company making in Mr. Biggs, you can be their board member and be a board member in an insurance company. So far, they are not in the same sector, and so far, they are not in competition against each other. Once they're in competition against each other, you can't be a board member in the same company, in both of them.
Okay. Okay, thank you. So another quick one, sir. As a small and medium business owner, like registered business name, what are my duties to CAC, especially the as regarding the annual returns?
Okay. It depends on how you register, as a business name or as a company. Annual returns there's this particular return you give to CAC yearly. That is the annual return. There's a stipulated date for it, for you to pay your yearly return. So, for instance, now the fact that a small business, a small medium company does not really matter in whether you have to pay and you have to file in these returns. No, it doesn't. It depends on how you incorporate your business. Is it as a company? If you incorporate your business as a company or as a business name, even as a business name, you file annual returns. As a company, you file annual returns. And as an incorporated company, you file annual returns. So whichever way you want to do it, you must file annual returns. As a company, if you have a meeting, the resolution, you must send it to CAC. The resolution, whatever decision you reach at that company, you must send it to CAC within a specified numbers of days. If you don't do that, there are fines to be paid. So all these things, they have implications to them. So far you register, there's a bit of leniency for business name. There's a bit of leniency for business name. But for company, there's even a bit of leniency now for small businesses. Under this newcomer, I think small businesses is a company with less than 300 million or 200 million, but I can't remember immediately now. So there's a bit of leniency for them and for companies limited by shares. So that is that about that.
Okay, thank you. So I think the last one will be taken for this evening. It says, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Can you please clarify legal means? That is,
Okay.
Is it through bank or third-party transfer company like Western Union, TransferWise, etc.?
It's through bank. There's a process to it. There are registered. It's you have to come through CBN, then through registered banks. Then your money will come through these banks because you can't send it to CBN directly. These banks are banks authorized in which you can bring such money into the country. Once you do that, the CBN must know. Before you do that, the CBN must know. This process is a little bit it's slightly complicated, because it involves a lot of things involved. But the means you bring the money is through bank, not third party. It's through bank. That one is certain.
Okay, sir. Just to emphasize on that. So you said through bank. So that means a third party cannot be used like Western Union or TransferWise, if I'm correct, sir.
You can't do that.
Okay. Thank you so much for the clarification, and thanks so much for tonight and for the great enlightenments that are in as much to educate ourselves as regarding the laws that pertain to the business that we do, so that we don't be a default or someone that breaks the law, and you should be able to do what is right at the right time. Pay your annual dues, your stamp duties, and every other things. Do it at the right time. Don't postpone it so that you don't have to now be running scatter when you are told to actually come and pay all the bulk of the debts that you have also. So one major key that I got today is that a business, when you register a business, it gives you the freedom. You are standing as an entity, and also your business is an entity on its own. When you register it as a concrete term tonight, and research more on this. So lastly, someone is asking quickly that is there a way we can reach out to you, Mr. Barrister Victor, offline? Now this is not online, this is offline, like after this section. I will maybe want to reach you, or how do we reach you?
Okay, I think my number is on my Zoom details, but maybe I'll drop my telephone number now. I'll drop my phone number now.
Okay, you can drop
Yeah,
that
I'll do that now.
so that everyone that needs it might actually pick up. Okay, so someone is asking here, sir, can you help out what to pay on the issue of annual returns? Do I need to go to CAC for clarification?
I didn't get that, please. Say it again, please. Hello?
Okay. Yeah, I'm with you. Can you
Yeah,
help
please,
out to clear how one can know what to pay on the issue of annual returns?
Okay. I've sent my number. It's on the chat for everybody. Can you see it, please?
Do I need to go to CAC for clarification?
On annual returns. First,
Okay.
is it whether you've paid the annual returns or you have not paid the annual returns? If it's that, you know you're the owner of the company, you can always know whether you have paid the annual returns or you have not. Annual returns is about money that you ought to pay and the necessary filings that must come along with it. That's annual returns. I don't know if you get that. Hello?
I believe the person who has the question, I believe the person will actually get that. Probably you can just repeat it again so that they can take note of
Annual
that.
returns is about payments that you need to pay to the CAC per year and the necessary filing that comes along with it. That's annual return.
Okay. So just to buttress on that question, sir, do you need to go to CAC for clarification on that, or there's a way we can actually go about that?
Do that, or you can contact your lawyer to do that for you. It's either of both ways.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for the clarification. Thanks so much, everyone. I believe it's been a wonderful time this evening, and I believe we'll all learn a thing or the other in which we can use to help our business, and also find ways that we can be a good citizens and somebody who actually obeys the law in all that we do. Do well to stay connected with us on our various platforms, Cityscope Africa, on all media. Then you can also watch this video will be uploaded on our YouTube handle sometimes later. You can check it out for previous sections and our conference to know more about what we do. And also you can follow Go Nigeria on all social media platforms. So I believe that it's been a great time this evening. So thank you so much. I wanted to say a big thank you to Barrister Victor Opatola for the wonderful session this evening. Thank you so much once again. Do all have a good night rest. Thank you.
I appreciate you.
Thank you.